Bartlett Board meeting for December 3rd, 2019. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Kammerer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney?
Here.
Gabrenya? Absent. Hopkins?
Here.
Ranky?
Present.
President Wallace?
Here. We've requested that Pastor Robert Taco of Jesus Journey Church do our invocation this evening. Pastor Taco.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Let's pray. Awesome Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening, and in that spirit of thanks, I want to give thanks to our first responders who are always there to help in our time of need in the village of Bartlett. Lord, I want to thank you for the people that serve this community and keep it beautiful and running well, and especially tonight, Lord, I want to thank you for those you put in leadership to serve this great community and to keep us functioning. Father, I ask that you would bless this evening, that you would give them wisdom like Solomon, that you would give them strength and courage like David, and that you would give them love and compassion like Jesus. And it is in his name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Taco.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Brings us to our consent agenda this evening. Consent agenda will be enacted in one motion. There'll be no further discussion on the consent agenda. I understand there might be some items we want to add or remove.
Mr. President, I'd like to add item C2 and item C3.
Both abatements. Does anybody have any issues with that?
I'd like to remove C4.
Okay. Anything else?
And I would like to add F1.
Okay. Anybody have any issues with that? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend the consent agenda to include the following: the bills list from December 3, 2019. The consent will include 2020 annual meeting schedule. The consent this evening, we will be adding under Finance and Golf Committee C2 and C3. The consent this evening will also include under Police and Health Committee E1. Under Public Works, we'll be adding F1, F2, and F3.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Kammerer?
Yes.
That motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk again please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Kammerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
That motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes, board and committee minutes from November 19, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Kammerer, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Abstain.
Kammerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
That motion carries. No treasurer's report this evening. No president's report. Is there any questions anyone has for staff at this point?
I have a couple of comments I'd like to make, if I may. First, I would like to talk about, we have some December anniversaries, which I'm very pleased to announce. We have John Peoples, who has 5 years of service, and Paul Peterson at the golf course has 19 years. Congratulations on your anniversary. And then we have a number of birthdays in December. We have, again at the golf course, Kevin DeRue, 12-3. And then we have Paul Peterson. I guess he started on his birthday. He's 12-16. We have Officer Kyle Rabinski. His birthday's December 25th. Pardon me, but I have to laugh these last ones. And Bob Allen is the 31st. And We have Trustee Kammerer, who's the 26th. He shares a birthday with my bride. And I have to laugh because her birthday is also the 26th. And when the relatives would come over years ago, they'd walk into the house and they'd say, "Oh, happy birthday, Merry Christmas," and hand her one gift. And she would be so upset because she'd only get one single gift. And it wouldn't even be cash. And then we have also trustee who is not here this evening. Apparently she's celebrating her birthday. It's 12/8. Trustee GABRENYA. And then last but not least, probably one of the most important people sitting up here on this board, myself. My birthday is the 13th. So
Happy birthday, Ray.
to everyone. Thank you, guys.
And I have to say that if anybody out there, I never think anybody have a worse birthday than me. Kyle wins.
Yeah, 25th.
25th, yeah.
And then I would just like to thank the village overall because I've received so many compliments on the decorations that we have. It absolutely looks stunning, and thank you for all your efforts, Trustee Camera. It looks, and also the street lights, which we started originally when I was first elected. And questions, who decorated the tree in Town Square by O'Hara's? That wasn't the village, correct? Do we know who decorated that tree?
That was part of, our contractor did that along with the Metra, Depot Museum, and the trees that you see
Oh,
right
okay,
by the
so it
tracks.
was?
We included that, yep.
All right, because I was in there last night and they asked me, and I said, I really didn't know, so I'll pass that along. And the other thing I just wanted to comment on, this Friday, we have the tree lighting, and also we have some other events going on in town. We have the craft fair with the Park District and Arts in Bartlett. Do we have any communication back and forth between the different organizations and whatnot on specifically what's occurring in town? Because I know it's going to be extremely difficult for the mayor to be at the tree lighting and also be at the craft show, the craft fair, and Arts in Bartlett. So you're going to send your bride to one of them, right?
yeah.
No, but I mean, isn't there some way that we could coordinate this a little better? Or it just is the way it is?
The tree light, kind of traditionally that day, I think we kind of, they can pick up the phone and call the chamber. I don't know, other than an annual calendar of events, we have one that we use, internally, but between the other organizations, maybe that would be something we could talk about at our joint taxing district meeting.
Yeah, good idea.
Way to get it
I
all
think most of
together.
those are drop-in things anyway. You can just pop in when you're done with one, go to another.
And I'm covering for the mayor at Arts.
And I've got to be in Wheaton, yeah.
Really?
For that, yeah.
After the tree lighting?
So,
Mr. President, that's all I have. Thank you.
anybody else? All right, hearing none. Oh, and also, we should probably mention with the tree lighting is the Santa, right? The
Oh, yeah.
Lions are doing the Santa again in the log cabin at
6:30.
5 o'clock, 5 to 6:30. Yep, with hot chocolate and the whole deal, yeah. You're playing Santa, I hope you're there by 5.
He can't anymore.
I'll be there with bells on.
He's lost too much weight, he can't.
All right, so, that being said, Town Hall, if anyone would like to address the board, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Michael Worden, 431 South Main Street, Bartlett. Just a couple comments on the 120 Bartlett Avenue project. It went through hearings at the zoning board and at the plan commission, and I thought the petitioners did a real good job of allaying some of the fears that people had. But I'm just concerned with allowing some of the music and things going on till 11 o'clock at night, especially since we have residential people living above businesses, and it could be a little bit disruptive doing that 6 days a week or 7 days a week. Perhaps an earlier cutoff time could be addressed. And I'm concerned at the demeanor of the Plan Commission. All but two of them were pretty arrogant and rude, I thought, to the people that testified and putting them down. When in the past, we had one member on the zoning board like that, and the village president did not renew him because of continual down-talking to people who were testifying. And I think some things need to be addressed with the Plan Commission.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else like to address the board at this time?
Good evening. I'm Gina Davalos, and I'm at 439 South Main Street in Bartlett, and I'm also here to talk about the 120 West Bartlett Avenue project. I love the downtown of Bartlett, but I like the family atmosphere that it has, and although we had a lot of businesses come and go, what's really nice about it is that it's always maintained a focus on the family, so keeping something open, like Mike said, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, very late at night, I think goes against the principles that we've had here in Bartlett. So I would like to also maybe recommend, we can have some flexibility with that, but maybe not so extensive. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Gina. Anyone else like to address the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to the standing committee reports this evening. First standing committee report is under Building and Zoning Committee. Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. Item A1 was covered under the consent agenda tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Next standing committee report is Community and Economic Development Committee, and Chairman GABRENYA is absent this evening. There's nothing on her agenda. Finance and Golf Committee, Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item we have on the agenda is the ordinance for the levy and assessment of taxes to the general corporate and other purposes of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, King County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning May 1, 2019, and ending April 30th, 2020. And with that, I want to make sure I have the right thing on my screen here. Nope. I move to approve Resolution 2019. Oh, that's the capital.
Yep.
That's the right one, right?
Oh, whoops, yeah. C1, 12C1.
Let's get back to the right screen. Oh, here we go. Thank you. All right. I approve ordinance 2019-97.
97?
An ordinance for the levy and assessment of taxes for the general, corporate, and other purposes of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and King County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2019, and ending April 30th, 2020. Thank you. I couldn't get the screen to come back.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Is there any discussion on the levy? Other than the decrease to 1.07%. Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item on our agenda, C2 and C3, were covered under consent. And C4, resolution adopting the 2020-2024 capital improvement program, was taken off consent. And with that, I move to approve resolution
101?
2019-101, a resolution adopting the 2020 through 2024 capital improvements program.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Kammerer. Is there any discussion?
Of course there is. So I've been a critic of this sewer pipeline from the Devon excess flow plant to Bittersweet. I don't understand why we haven't taken other avenues. Why would we want to treat excess flow when we don't have to? I don't understand why this administration doesn't want to fix the sewer system. I don't understand why this administration has not brought forward in the 5 years that I've been here any kind of solution to fix the sewer system. They've talked about I&I, they've talked about lining sewers, but not once have we talked about correcting the issues. Because we line sewers, and I've talked to Dan Dinges, and he says it has not helped our I&I. So over the course of 5 years, we've known about excess flow, or as I should say, extreme excess flow above the normal standard, and we haven't corrected the issue. And I want to know why. Why hasn't the board got direction on fixing it, a capital program to fix the sewers? The sewer system is one of a key municipal service that the village is supposed to provide. And we have not got one capital program to address it, the sewer system.
When you say fix the problem, do you mean replace the sewer system? Replace the connections between?
Well, I'll just simply refer.
Between homes and the mains?
I'll refer to this plan right here.
Have
you read this? This is the Basin M5 Sanitary Sewer System Evaluation Survey. And it was done in 2017, and the village received it on January 19th, 2018. Have you read this?
That's when we were looking for solutions to Devon Avenue, and that's when we were talking to MWRD about an actual solution. And we came up with a solution that they would take it and they would treat it, and then their board changed and they no longer wanted to do that. And so we came back with the plan that this board reviewed in July and approved to move forward on. I&I, you're right, doesn't solve the whole problem. It takes a portion of that problem away, but not the whole problem. And lining the sewers takes a portion of that problem away, but not the whole problem. But those two solutions and the programs that we're working on, and the 50/50 program that will be coming to you in the next couple months, that addresses the connection between the homeowner and our system, will give you an opportunity to address that concern that you have. We don't have it ready for you.
Have you read this report?
Reviewing it.
Have you read this report?
Probably.
It's the I&I report that EEI did for us for the area north of the tracks, east of Oak is the one you're talking about.
You've read this report.
I have. And we've been working off of that report. That's why we've done the smoke testing. That's why we've done the manhole lining. That's why we separated the school storm water sanitary sewer. We've been working on that whole list ever since.
Yeah, so you agree with this, survey?
I agree that the system needs to be improved.
Okay. And out of all the things that they've outlined, have we completed all of them?
No.
So they put a price tag on it of $208,000. And we've had this for 2 years. $208,000. That's it. Do you know what you have in the capital program right now? You have $1.5 million for a sprinkler system at a golf course. That's insulting, actually. A golf course is not a key municipal service.
I think life and safety at our golf course is.
Life and safety, you think? No.
Sprinkler system is life and safety.
We're not talking.
All right,
Okay, no.
I'm sorry, I don't need to fight with you.
No, we don't have to fight. I'm not talking about a sprinkler system in the banquet facility. They're talking about a sprinkler system for their greens.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood, the irrigation.
Your irrigation system. So you want to invest $1.5 million in one given year when you haven't even spent $1.5 million on the collection system in a combined 2 years. So I really have a problem here.
Okay,
Well, first off,
I
don't
would-
think you should correlate the golf course to what you're talking about this evening.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Dan, where is the funds coming for the irrigation system? Is the golf course going to pay for that, or is it coming out of the general budget?
The funds for the golf course have not been determined at this time. That is off a few years. We presented that because that's one of the issues that we are working towards. Normally, golf course improvements like that will come out of the developer deposits fund or some other, not out of the general fund, general deposits.
You're going to take money away from the taxpayers to pay for something. So the enterprise fund of the golf course, you do not want to take the funds from that enterprise fund, correct?
As far as the revenue coming in, the golf course does not have that money in the fund, does not have that money available.
Do you think that fund should stand on its own?
The golf course right now is supporting its operations. The money coming in supports the operations of the fund, the golf course operations. Capital projects for the golf course, the clubhouse, the maintenance facility, capital projects have been supported by other funds other than the operating revenues of the golf course.
We've been taking money from the taxpayers to prop up a golf course when our sewer system is crumbling. Is that what you're saying?
There's more than one function that the village has, and one of them is providing a golf course facility to the village. And that's a service to the village as well as...
I think we owe it to our residents to fix our sewer system and then evaluate building a pipeline that could potentially be useless, could potentially not even need to exist. The village administration wants to spend $9.5 million or $8.5 million on a pipeline that could be useless if we correct our sewer system.
I think that's a pretty high unlikelihood.
You think so?
Yeah, with the rain
You read
events that
this
we have.
report? I'll read you a paragraph in it. The number of storm tie-ins identified in Basin M5 is unusually high. If the defects found in Basin M5 are consistent with the defects which would be identified in the rest of the MWRD tribunal area, the village is likely to find another large source of I&I. The rehabilitation of defects contributing to I&I, inflow and infiltration, may decrease the need for the village to build, pay for excess treatment, storage, or treatment mechanisms for the MWRD area.
But I&I doesn't solve the problem entirely, right? I mean, that's what we talked about.
This decreases the likelihood, according to your engineers that village staff hired. Okay? So you want to build an $8.5 million pipeline to Bittersweet, and you have not presented us with what this is going to cost the Cook County residents to treat excess flow. It costs money to treat water. It costs money. What is it going to cost 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Actually, what is it going to cost? It's an unknown variable. Would you agree with that, Dan?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you know what it would cost to fix our sewer system? I don't know, but in the M5 area, to fix the most severe problems, it's $208,000.
Those have been fixed.
All those have been
As
fixed?
we have talked about, it all gets down to the services. I think I shared the numbers the last time we talked about it, and it's millions of dollars. If the board would like us to put together that plan again, and we want to do the rate increase to do all that work, then that's where we'll go with it. But I think I've shared what the numbers are. It's not just about fixing our system, which we've done in that area that you're talking about. It gets down to all the services, having to do those improvements as well, which involves the homeowners or the village paying for all of them at significant dollars. So tell me what you want, and I'll put it together for you. We have been working on that system. We have the 600,000 over the last 2 or 3 years that we've been spending money on improving the collection system, for the most part, entirely in the Cook County area, in the areas that we know we have issues. So that's where we've been focusing our attention, and that's what we've been spending the money on. If you want to tell me what number you want, I've showed you the numbers of what we would need to seal off the system. Give me the money, and we'll get it done.
Well, what I have a problem with, this identifies certain homeowners that have defects in their pipes. You gave me a list of 5,000 homes, and I immediately knew that wasn't accurate, and then you came back, it's 3,000. I still think that's high. I think you guys are going off of every address and not every connection point, because there's multiple family houses with only one connection point. But I'm not going to argue over a few hundred homes. That's not what I want to do. I want to focus in on this report, and it doesn't identify every home. It does not. It only identifies a certain number of homes. So if we did an actual survey of the whole MWRD area that we're talking about, and actually put together a concrete proposal of what it will cost, because right now, M5 is one of the largest areas in the Cook County section, correct? It's one of the larger.
Yeah, it's a big portion.
So if we're only talking about $208,000, it's not going to cost the number of $21 million or $23 million, as you mentioned before. We're talking about fixing the severe problems like this report lays out. The point of all this is you want to build a pipeline for $8.5 million and not give us any concrete or hard numbers of what it's going to cost to treat sewage 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. If we correct this problem, it significantly changes the dynamic to put storage in and send the excess flow back to MWRD.
But not enough. Even if we did that, we would still have to put in how many million gallons of storage, Dan?
If you did this report,
I mean, we did this.
Ms. Schumacher, if you did this report,
If we did that report, you're still in excess flow. I think that's roughly 25% of the Cook County area. What that report and the services that you're talking about, to touch base on that, when we do the smoke test, it highlights, and that's what they're highlighting, are the smoking guns, if you will. There's still a whole lot of clay services, and it's a matter of time. So if you're going to do the system and seal it like you're talking about, that's why I have the costs that I show. It's sealing every single service, because if it's clay, if it ain't leaking now, it will be. So when I put the numbers together, and that's why they're high, is it's converting every single clay service, which we know we have a lot in that area, to a lined service or replaced PVC service. So that's what that number is. As far as the services that are the smoking guns, those are the ones that, when our contractor gets in here this spring, this winter, that we're going to be sending letters to them saying, here's the dollar in order to line your service. We have those lists of people that the service was leaking with smoke. Those are the ones we're going to send a letter to and see if they're interested. So
I think I have.
So let me butt in here a second. So if I'm hearing you correctly, Dan, 25% of what we're talking about fixing with the pipeline is what he's talking about fixing, and that won't fix the overall problem.
as far as the whole Devon excess
Yeah.
flow, no, it's not going to. And based on Naperville and
You
their
gotta use
system
the
that they've been
entire,
doing it,
the entire map. You can't use the 25% of that report. And what you're obviously doing is trying to say, okay, we've thrown away money that we don't have to throw away. We've talked about this till we're all blue in the face.
No, actually, I don't think we have. Because
So
5 years ago,
You're saying 208,000, fix these few houses and the problem's solved. That's not going to happen.
5 years ago, when you sent a letter to MWRD and the IEPA, we didn't do this. You knew there was issues. We knew there was issues. We still haven't done a survey for the rest of the collection system. It just doesn't make sense to me that why we wouldn't do a survey for that whole area, come up with hard numbers, and either fix it or let the board have a choice in the matter. This administration has not done that. This administration has not given us an option here. And then it's coming down to the last minute, and everyone's like, oh, we're going to be in violation. The EPA,
I disagree with that.
The EPA is going to give us.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. We went through all kinds of discussions with MWRD. We went through all kinds of solutions. You think this is a knee-jerk reaction? It is not. It is not. I trust our Public Works Director. I trust his judgment. You might not. I do.
Right now, 5 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't do this. This was back in 2018 when we finally decided to do a survey to find out what the defects are. Why wouldn't we do it? You knew there was inflow and infiltration in excess over the normal limits. Why wouldn't we do this from day one and put together concrete numbers? And then, even this beside, you build a pipeline and you don't give us numbers to find out what it's going to cost to treat this sewage.
Stand a second on this.
We have a
motion and a
we have a
second.
motion on the floor. Did we get a second?
Yep.
I'm going to hold this motion until the next meeting.
Is it possible to give
Yeah,
that?
we're going to call a vote.
You can't.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Village,
Explain why
attorney?
we can't give that number?
Yeah, that's what the discussion is for. You can still call a vote.
You cannot call a vote.
Yes, you can.
I am
We
holding
need to address
this,
If someone makes a motion to call a question,
I am holding this until the next meeting. I can do that under our rules.
Well, let's take the vote. We'll talk about it later. Lorna, please call.
Trustee Cameron,
This is a terrible idea.
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Hopkins,
No.
Ranky.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. President, that's all we have on the agenda this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Dady.
Thank you.
Next item is Licensing Committee. Chairman Ranky.
Thank you, Mr. President. We don't have anything on license and ordinance this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Police and Health Committee, Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was one item that was covered on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Public Works Committee, Chairman Kammerer.
Thank you, Mr. President. All three of our items were covered under the consent agenda this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Kammerer. Any new business anyone would like to discuss? I believe we have somebody from the Park District. I am announced that wants to make a statement. So if you want to just step up, that'd be great. This is your time. Thank you for being here.
Seems like
I know, you had to
tough show to follow.
making a special town hall.
So thank you very much for the time. My name's Dale Kasuba, and I live at 806 Kent Circle here in Bartlett. And I am a Park District Commissioner, but I also am the secretary for Bartlett Heritage Days, and that's really why I'm here, because we do Bartlett Heritage Days in September, and then we do the parade and trick-or-treating in town for the Saturday before Halloween. And I wanted to thank the police department because every year the trick-or-treating event gets a little bigger. It has hundreds of people. 2 years ago, it was like 70 degrees, so there was 500 people out. This year is a few less because it wasn't 70. But the community service officers led by Kyle do such a fabulous job of keeping everyone safe. They're all out there and they have a plan in place and they implement the plan. And I just wanted to say thank you. It's taken me a few weeks to get here. I apologize. November was a very busy month, but that was my major purpose for coming, was to thank the trustees of the village for the budget, for the event, and the police department for all their good work that they provide at that event.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out and recognizing them. Any other new business anyone would like to discuss?
I would like to immediately, at the next village board meeting, have discussions about fixing our sewer system and actually putting money from a capital budget together to pay for our sewers to be repaired. I think it's crazy that we haven't, and I think it's crazy that this staff would prioritize $1.5 million for an irrigation system over our sewer system.
We'll discuss that on Tuesday on Agenda Day. Anything else? Any questions anyone has?
Yeah, I want to just say something. I think it's unfair that we have to compare this to the golf course. The golf course has special needs. It's a different entity, and I think you're comparing apples and oranges. It's not the same. It's there for a purpose. And anytime that you take a look at something like that, I believe we beat this to death enough, and I wish we wouldn't have any more discussions with it. We've taken a roll, we've taken a vote. Let's move on.
Yep.
That's the way I feel about it. Sorry about that.
All right, just before we adjourn this evening, we will be having an executive session tonight immediately following the committee of the whole meeting to discuss the sale of village-owned property pursuant to Section 2C6 of the Open Meetings Act. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
No.
Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
We are adjourned.